Hello and welcome to today's stream. Happy Monday, and I hope you had a good start to the week. You had a good weekend. It's nice to be here. I actually almost forgot about the stream today. I was completely caught up in other stuff, and then I was like talking to my fiance. It's like, yeah, you're supposed to have a stream, right? I was like, oh, completely forgot about that. Hey, Catherine, nice to see you. So I'm happy that I didn't miss it, because sometimes I'm so tired, I'm just like, I just want to go to sleep. Other times it stays like this. I feel good. It's nice to be here. Tired, yes, but it's also really nice to just come and talk to everyone and just discuss the thing that I find to be the most interesting thing to discuss amongst all the things one can discuss, which is how to enjoy being here and how to practice a bit differently than what most of us are used to. Because I really do find that when you start getting a bit of momentum behind it, and it becomes a natural way of relating to the world, and it no longer is really not so much a practice, it's just an obvious way to approach life. When it really starts making sense to you that it really makes no sense to go around feeling bad, that doesn't mean it's easy to do that, but the idea that we somehow need to feel bad, and that's like a given of life, and that's just how it has to be. Like when that really starts to click, like, oh yeah, wait a minute, that's not actually true. Hey, JVB. And then it just becomes a choice. It just becomes a choice of how do I want to experience this moment, and how do I want to experience this moment. And when you've done that enough, it becomes pretty clear that, well, you know what, it's actually much more enjoyable to enjoy this moment than it is to not enjoy this moment. And when I say enjoy, as soon as I say that, we tend to go in, it's like, well, there's unenjoyable things happening. And that's the whole thing we need to break. The idea that just because something happens in the outside world, that there needs to be an emotional judgment of what happens. The idea that just because something doesn't align with how you want things to be means that you need to feel bad. Like, it just makes so much sense when you're doing it. But when you stop and really question it, and are able to live life in a different way, just for a few moments, and just to be able to walk around and just enjoy, not like, oh, the surroundings or the nice environment, but just enjoy, because it actually is enjoyable to be alive. The whole idea that there is something we need to do, or that there is some kind of punishment to be born, or like all that like weird stuff, like that just stops making sense. And all of a sudden it's just really nice to be here. It's really nice to be alive, even when there's difficult things happening. And I'll give you an example that I ran into just recently. Actually, I ran into a lot of these examples because my life is not easy. My life is pretty tough. Depending on how one looks at it. I was fixing something around the house because we have a problem with the drainage around our house, and so we were digging out. We have like an excavator, and then I was digging, and then the man who built the house, just so many strange things, like really strange things. And there's a big boulder lying right next to the wall, so I couldn't do the drainage. And I thought, oh, and I could feel myself slip into like, I can't believe he did this. Why would he leave like a huge boulder right next to the house that could like start moving into the house and crack the wall? And like, why would he leave that there? And it seemed like he had built up a basement wall, then torn it down and just let it lie underneath the ground. Like, lots of weird stuff. He hadn't done the drainage properly, which is why we have to redo it. And I could feel myself going into like, oh, son of a, like, can't believe he did this. Like, what an idiot. Why does he do this? And I started feeling bad. I'm like, hey, wait. Like, this makes no sense. Like, I still need to fix it. Something needs to be done. Like, there is a big stone here. We need to get it away. Like, we can't have it here. Me feeling bad about it, just, I mean, the stone's not going to care. It's not going to be like, oh, sorry, Martin's feeling upset about this. I'm going to move. I'm just going to scooch half a meter back. So it's okay. Sorry, Martin. Sorry. Like, hey, Stephen, nice to see you. Like, the facts of the situations situation is not going to change because I'm emotionally judging what's happening. It's still a fact. So when you take that away, and I stop feeling like, oh, it's like this, like me feeling bad because now I'm judging, like, oh, I want reality to be different. Reality is that there's a big stone there. He didn't do the drainage properly. There's half a wall lying under the, like, for some reason. And that's how it is. Like, that's just how it is. But when I stopped emotionally judging it and could just see, okay, there's a stone there. What do? Then it just became choices. Well, I have, like, my neck problem, so I can't do anything about it. Like, the choice would be to drill holes in it, and you either drive a wedge into these holes, you put something called, in Swedish we call it snail dynamite. So it's basically like expanding concrete that, like, expands and cracks the stone. But my neck is so bad, so I can't do it. So instead I called a friend who's been saying, like, yeah, if you need help, just call me. Like, I'll come and help you. And, like, I called him, and he's like, yeah, I'll come. I'll go and rent the tools, and I get in. It would be, like, a bit expensive, but yeah, it needs to be done. So he was doing that, and then at the same time another friend came to help me out, and he started digging, like, underneath, like, I think we can get it underneath here. And then eventually we were able to get the drainage underneath, so we solved it. But that was a typical situation where before I would have been so upset, I would have started blaming the man who built the house. They called him cheating, I'm not going to say his name, but the cheating Fred, let's call him that. That was apparently his nickname around these quarters. Yeah. Not so encouraging that we bought his house. I would have been upset about that and thought how unfair and how unjust it is. But when you take away the emotional filter between realities, it's just a fact. There's a stone here. Yes, there shouldn't be a stone there. There should be proper drainage. There's not proper drainage. What are we going to do about it? None of my complaining, whining, feeling bad, distressing, stressing, being upset was getting the stone to move. Like, nothing changed the fact that the stone was there. It's like it's an immovable object. It was so big that the excavator we have, like, it's a mini excavator, like, couldn't move it because it's just way too big. I couldn't even budge it, like, no matter how hard I did. Maybe I could have dug, like, a ramp down somehow, and, like, maybe, possibly, I don't know actually, but yeah. None of that was helping. It also wasn't making me enjoy being here. It wasn't making me a friendlier person to the people around me who were trying to help me. And it sure as heck didn't make it easy for me to solve the situation because the stone was still there. Now I had to not just solve the problem, I had to handle this, like, feeling inside where I'm pushing and pulling against this thing that I don't want to be real. Even though that is reality, I just didn't want to accept it. So when you could just stop doing that and you start saying, okay, wait a minute, this is the fact, what are we going to do? Well, then I called my friend who wanted to help me, and he came over. Well, he was willing to come over. Then there was another friend who came, who helped dig underneath, and we didn't actually need to do the drilling part. So nothing, if I would have gone around feeling bad and angry about it, it would have just taken longer, because then I would have been paralyzed. I would not be thinking of coming up with a solution. I would simply go around being upset. And that is not taking the stone away. It would still be there. But when I was able to see, like, hey, wait a minute, and I've done this for so long, and I've been recognizing this pattern in myself, that it just becomes a natural part. Sometimes it's like, now it takes over for like 10-15 minutes, and then it's a bit difficult. Sometimes longer than that. Like, every year I seem to have one thing that really overwhelms me and I can't stand with it. And I mean, you hear me talk about this, but maybe you can recognize this in yourself sometimes, that there's something you do that you get so caught up in that you just waste a week or 2 or 3 or a year just being upset about it. How reality should be different than it is, just because you say it should, just because you don't want it to be that way. Because obviously your desire for reality, how it should be, trumps the universe. Like, whatever you think, that's how it should be. That makes a lot of sense. So when we stop fighting reality emotionally, when we stop fighting it emotionally and we start accepting, okay, this is what it is, what am I going to do about it? When you look at what most people do, is that they have that feeling like, oh, this feels so bad, and then that's what drives them. In other words, they're just, the reason most people do what they do because they want to get away from an uncomfortable feeling. I feel bad, so now I do this. It's not that I actually want to do this or that I need to do it. I just do it because I have this really uncomfortable feeling inside of me. And because of that, I'm going to go do this thing. Like I'm going to stay in this relationship because I feel so bad that maybe I'll never meet someone if I go and meet someone. I mean, if I leave this person, then I'll never meet anyone else. So I'm not going to leave because I feel bad. So I stay just because I want to avoid the uncomfortable feeling of, well, what could happen? Like maybe I'll never meet someone, and maybe I'm not worthy of love because this is the best I can get, and I'll just have to accept that. So stopping to focus, stopping to being driven, having your action being driven by difficult feelings, which is the title for tonight. I think I wrote it something along the lines of why feeling bad emotions is a problem and good emotions are also a problem, because what we do is that it's very obvious that I want to get away from bad emotions. Obviously, like I don't want to feel bad emotions. Like I want to feel good emotions is what most people do. So then we think, okay, I need to make things happen in such a way that I have good feelings. It's the same thing, you see, because one part we're just avoiding the bad feelings, and what we want instead are the good feelings that we get from getting the stuff. So I want to have the perfect partner. I want to have the perfect job. I want to be a billionaire or millionaire or trillionaire, however rich you want to be. Like, and if I could just get that, then I'll be happy. Then I'll feel good. So we want to have those feelings, and we think we get them from achieving something or getting something. The problem is, though, that if you've been fortunate enough to achieve a lot of things, then there is something that becomes pretty obvious, and this was really obvious to me. I actually just put online again the reason why I became a Buddhist monk, because I've been offlining it. I've just given up on this channel. I realized that the YouTube is serving me a very wrong audience, so I'm just going to start another one, but I'll let the old video stay up. And the thing that became very real to me when I left to be a monk was that I had tried so hard to figure out what I was supposed to do. Do I earn money? Do I find the perfect girlfriend? Do I find the perfect career? Do I find the calling in my life? What am I supposed to do? And I believe that if I could just find that thing, then I would be rewarded with this feeling. And I was really good at getting stuff. I was really good at achieving things. And what struck me was that as soon as I got them, there was the next thing. So I worked towards this thing that I worked so hard for to get. As soon as I got there, it was like, okay, so what's the next one? It could last, like the joy was last. It's like you're playing a game and you're competing in like the World Cup, or maybe even better, like they say about astronauts who came home from space that get depressed because they were like, how are you going to top that? What are you going to do now that you've been into space? It's like you can't get bigger than that. It's kind of like tough. You work so hard towards this one thing and you believe, well, I'm just going to get there. Oh, I'm going to do this, and then, oh, there was no eternal fulfillment from completing this task. Like there's just the next thing. So we keep being driven by these good emotions or bad emotions, meaning the distortion of not accepting reality as it is, believing that for me to be happy, I need to go to space. For me to be happy, I need to have a partner. For me to be happy, I need to win the lottery. Like whatever it is, there's always this one thing that needs to change that you believe you need to have happen for you to feel good. And that's a never-ending game. You can never become truly fulfilled by that because it's just going to be the next thing. Oh, no, it's not that. You should help other people. You should like become spiritual and start helping everyone else. Then you'll be happy. I've seen enough people who worked as in non-profit organizations and worked with helping people out to see that they're not the happiest people. If anything, they can be extremely upset and angry towards the world for the injustice that they're now fighting. So there's not that peace and fulfillment that you would expect from helping others. Instead, they're doing it because they feel bad. They don't want to feel bad. I'm going to help people so that I can feel good, which is bizarrely a really self-centered way of or selfish way of helping, because now you're helping so that you can get something. It's not unselfish. Like your actions might be unselfish from the outside, meaning you give away without asking anything in return, but you want something back. You want to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling. And if you're helping someone who's in a bad spot and you want to lift them up, now if you don't lift them up, you'll feel disappointed. You won't feel like you're good enough to be able to help them. So now they feel that pressure, and you're no longer allowing them to be who they are. So we constantly want the world to somehow reward us for our actions, and we believe that, even like there's a lot of people who believe that's like the purpose of life, to put our how would you say that in English, to put our stamp on the world, to make sure that I'll be remembered, like that people will remember me, what I did. So think about if you go back like 100 years, how many of the people who lived 100 years are remembered? Okay, the big names. How about 1,000 years? How about 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years ago? How many of those people are remembered? What about 10,000 years ago? And you'll say, well, we have the digital age now, everything can survive, we have written text, it will survive forever. I'd argue that it's probably going to be just as anonymous, but not because people don't have the means to record about us, but rather because there's going to be such a insane amount of information out there that it's just going to be like, you can't really remember anything compared to how it was before, when there were like a few people who were very big and like made a stamp, like will be remembered kind of, or history chose to remember them for whatever political reason usually. So the idea that you'll be remembered is like, then you have to think about how long. How about 1,000,000 years? Is anyone going to remember you in 1,000,000 years? And say like, no, actually it's enough. I just need to be remembered for 100,000 years. Or like, how long do you need to be remembered to feel fulfilled? I mean, what's the point? Why do we keep looking towards something over there in the future that needs to be different? Or pushing against something that happened in the past that we don't like? The idea that you could actually enjoy just being here for no other reason than that it is actually enjoyable to be here. That's like that can't be true. That makes no sense to people, because we're so used to the idea that there's something that needs to happen on the outside world for me to be happy. I need to somehow change reality for me to feel joy. And then you have the spiritual people who say like, well, you know what, just let everything be. There is no me, no you. So like, I'm not going to do anything. Like, no one can hurt me. Like, obviously they can't physically, because that's still a fact. So I'm not going to let anything affect me. They're just kind of ignoring it, because they're still doing the same thing. They've just kind of shifted it around into something else. So you still have the idea that something needs to change. There's something that needs to be different for me to be happy. And it's something that's outside of here. I need to just understand that we're all the same. But the idea that it could be so simple that we just learn to feel good now. It's not that you do something difficult. It's not that you go through some incredibly advanced rite of passage or meet a guru who's going to give you powers to enjoy life, or like I sit and meditate for 3 hours and then I'm rewarded by the divine spirits with feeling good. Maybe, just maybe, the thing you need to do is to learn to feel good. That's it. You need to learn to feel good no matter what happens around you. Not by suppressing your feelings and say like, no, Martin told me I'm going to feel good, so I'm going to pretend I feel good even though I don't. And not expressing like going out and either like throwing a tantrum or doing what some people do when they like get over, like, I'm going to show everyone I'm happy, I'm going to be myself, I'm going to go dance naked on the streets because that's what I feel like and I need to be me. Like, no, that's like manic depressive episodes, like it's going to make you go like this. And I think a lot of people who get into this scene kind of has some kind of issue before, and the spirituality actually makes it worse for a lot of people. And I've seen this firsthand many times. Maybe you've seen it in yourself as well. So it is very easy, very, very uncomplicated in many ways. All you need to do is just to learn to see, why are you not enjoying being here now? Like, what's in the way? And if you look at that, you'll feel like, oh, there's this uncomfortable feeling because, in my case, the stone was lying next to our house. We couldn't do the drainage. That makes me feel bad. And then when you think about that, well, if I could just get the stone away, then I could feel good. Like, no. Like, it's just a feeling. It's nothing that has to do with reality. The stone is still there. I chose to feel good because I looked at that and I was like, this is not helping at all. Like, why am I doing this? I'm reacting towards this stone. It's not going to change it. It's not going to make me better, feel better. It's not going to make the stone go away. So why do I do this? And then all of a sudden it dropped. Nothing had changed. The situation was exactly the same, but all of a sudden you no longer felt bad. I no longer felt bad about it. The thing that seems like the same, which is not the same, which a lot of people do, and then when I have these discussions with people, it pretty much always comes up, and what they'll do is they'll say that, actually, and I did this for a long time as well, like, actually, you know what, the stone is good, because that stone, had that not been there, and I hadn't stopped because of that stone, I'd be driving my car tomorrow and I'd die in an accident, so that actually saved my life. Or, well, you know what, the reason that stone is there is because when they built the house, his best friend passed away, and his best friend has put his hand on that stone, so he wanted to keep a memory of his best friend next to the house. It'll go like, oh, that's so sweet. Well, I can understand why the stone is there. I'm going to let it be there. I'm not going to feel bad about this. That's a weird reason to leave a stone, but I'm just saying, like, you come up with some reason, explanation that makes it so that you don't feel bad. You haven't allowed yourself to feel your feelings. You haven't allowed yourself to look at this whole thing that is happening here, because if you truly feel your feelings, if you don't resist them, if you let them come over, and I'm not talking about being a separate, like this feeling here, like, oh, I'm surrounded by the feelings, but I mean by really not resisting them and not creating them anymore. And this is a skill. Like, I've spent a lot of time talking to people about this, and it takes time to figure out how to do this, but eventually it just kind of washes over you and you go like, oh, wait a minute, there was nothing there. There was no substance to this difficult feeling. And if you just explained it away, it might seem from the outside when you talk to someone, yeah, we fixed it. See, you're not feeling bad about it anymore. Yeah, but what's going to happen the next time something difficult happens? Then it's going to be another excuse that you need to come up to as to why you don't need to feel bad. It's the same thing all over again. This is what they in Buddhism talk about when they say that, well, you can push down the grass, but as soon as there's rain and there's sunlight and the nutrients in the soil, the grass is going to stand up again, because that's what grass does. It grows upwards, unless you pull it out by the roots. And the way you pull it up by the roots is bizarrely simple. It's you just feel your feelings. And this is something that people... I didn't understand how difficult it was for people to feel their feelings. And in many ways, I don't think I understood how difficult I had feeling my feelings. Because when I talk about feeling my feelings, I would say like, oh, I feel sad. Yeah, but what does sadness feel like? Well, it feels sad, you know, like it's uncomfortable. Yeah, but what does it feel like? Where in the body is it? Like, is it a vibrating thing? Is it spiky? Like, how would you, like, what does it feel like? We're not used to really look at what our feelings feels like, because that's uncomfortable. That's scary. What would happen if I felt my feelings? Would something bad happen? I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that if I felt my feelings, I might disappear, which is partly true, because if you allow yourself to feel your feelings, the ego or the sense of identity has nothing that keeps it alive. The sense of self needs to have something to push against. If it doesn't push against anything, then it can't exist, because it needs that drama, the conflict, this is me and I'm pushing against this. And you believing that everyone is the same thing doesn't matter. Now you just stopped identifying as this small thing, and now you're the big thing. And then now you're like believing that you're the universe and you're this grand divine being. And then all the other people, they're also like that, but they don't understand it yet. I need to help them. I need to save them. It's the same thing. CJVB, I'm curious. How does sitting in stillness support having a mindset of enjoying the now, like how you have described it? That is a question I'm asking more and more often nowadays, actually. And to be honest, I've changed my mind quite a bit. This is one of the reasons why, like I said, I took off a lot of videos offline, because I've changed my mind a lot about this. You don't need to sit still. Absolutely no need, but it can be very helpful to do it. The problem becomes that when you sit in stillness to observe what happens inside, what we tend to do is that we do concentration meditation. We tend to focus on something to make us calm, or we tend to observe like the sensations that feel tingling in my arm, tingling in my arm. I feel pressure on my chin. There's pain in my knee. That's not emotions. Like, we're not aware of the whole system that we're trying to remove. You're not trying to move that there's like pain in your arm. Like that. That's concentration meditation. I focus so hard on something that I can't feel the pain in my elbow or arm. Like you can do that. Like that's a thing. Temporarily. Because as soon as you stop doing it, it's gradually going to start coming up again. And so doing that doesn't really help with looking at this distortion. Like I call it distortion rather than feelings and emotions, because if I say like, okay, I don't want to feel bad, like that's obvious to most people. But what about feeling excited? Like that's a nice feeling, right? But when you really look at it, excitement carries with it a lot of tension, a lot of I'm not here. I'm excited about something that's going to happen over there. It's a very nice thing. It's a really exciting thing, but I'm not here. Or like I met this girl and we're going to go on a date and I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. I'm not here. I want it to be then when I'm with her. And then I want it to go a specific way. And if it doesn't go a specific way, then I feel bad. In other words, I'm not actually experiencing now. Even though it seems like a positive thing, it's pulling you out of here. Or you feel good because like, oh, last night I met this person and we had this incredible conversation like on the subway, and like a stranger, and we just said hello and we had a talk and then we separated. It was just so nice to talk to a stranger and have a nice conversation. That is a really nice thing when you're doing it. But when you go away and you start thinking about like, oh, that was so nice, I wish it was like that more, and like I missed that, and you tell your friends about it, well, you're not here. It might seem cold and almost clinical when I say it like that, but when you really start, and absolutely don't start like looking at the good feelings and like, oh yeah, I shouldn't feel excited. And then what people tend to do is they just kind of tense up. Feel the excitement, see that it's actually in a way hurting you, which seems completely counterintuitive to most people. But when you really look at it and you learn to see how nice and enjoyable it is to have this emotional reaction system, this distortion, just be still, just be calm. When you see the enjoyment that comes from just being alive, not because there's something exciting going to happen or because I'm running away from something bad, or like none of that, just here, like right now. When you see how enjoyable it is to be alive right now, by not pushing against the past, pulling something from the past, or pushing against the future, or pulling towards, when you're able to just be here, that is really nice. And one place where this is really difficult to do is sexual attraction. When, like, I live with my partner, of course, and when we feel attracted to each other, I could see how, like, oh, I'm being pulled away. I'm not actually here. I'm just, like, excited. And if I would try to, like, push that down, well, that would kind of, like, that's not what I'm trying to do. It's actually very nice to be physically intimate with someone, but I'm not really there, like, every step along the way, because especially for men, we're usually working towards something in the future, which is the orgasm. Women are generally better at just enjoying the actual being together. And so when you stop looking towards that thing that's going to happen and really start experiencing every step, that makes it incredibly different to experience life, because you're no longer working towards something or running away from something. You're actually experiencing now. And it's almost difficult to talk about, because it simply makes no sense to me anymore to do it differently at all. Like, not at all. And still, I can't stop doing it at times, because the inertia from this whole system that's been trained since birth to react, to be upset, to want things to be differently, where they tell you like, oh, go do this and then you'll be happy. Go to school, get a career, and then when you get that, you go to get a job, and then you get kids, and then you have a family. And family is the most important. You need to have family, otherwise you can't be happy. And like, you should do these things, and then if you do those things, you'll be rewarded, and then you'll be going to pension, and then you can really do what you do, and then you can hang out with the grandkids, and then you'll die. Like, the idea is always like something needs to change. Like, I need to be something other than what's here. the fact that you need to be is the whole problem, because when you don't need to do anything, when you just experience, then there's just things that need to be done. And that's not an uncomfortable way of living life. If you numb yourself down, then yes, that would be uncomfortable. But if you really allow yourself to feel, to really experience, then it's so much easier to go through life without having this emotional turmoil, and instead having an enjoyment of life that's just your baseline. It's just enjoyable to be here. It's not that I'm enjoying because this or that happened or didn't happen, but actually it is nice to talk to people, even strangers, like that you don't like normally. It's nice to take a walk, to eat food. It's nice to be with other people. It's nice to sit on a stone. It's nice to be out when it's raining. A lot of more things become enjoyable when you stop emotionally judging them, when you stop emotionally believing that you need something different than what is happening right now. And if there's something happening right now that you don't want, then just take the action you need to get away from there. Just like with the stone by our house. I didn't need to feel bad to come up with a solution of how to solve the problem. In fact, I was much, much, much more efficient when I was not emotionally reacting, but instead just enjoying being here. Okay, I'm sitting here in the excavator. I'm enjoying being here. What am I going to do? Well, the solutions come easily. It is still enjoyable to sit in the excavator. I could go out there and sit there now, and I could enjoy being there. There's nothing different if there's a stone there or not. Like, it's just me sitting in the excavator. And there's difficult times and there's good times, and sometimes we suffer and sometimes it's difficult, and that's okay. Like, we go through difficult things. Like, if you know my story, I have my herniated disc and I sleep like crap, and my life is very difficult because of that. And sometimes that is really overwhelming, and I'm so tired that I can't focus. I can't drive the car. I had to drive the car earlier today, and I was so tired that I was really scared. Like, I felt like I should not be driving a car. So I try not to, and that was not fun. But then you slow down and you stop stressing about getting to the place you need to be a specific time, and instead you just do the best you can. Worst case, you take a taxi. Like, it's just solutions that need to be taken care of. Instead of, I need to have it happen like this, so I'm going to push it, I'm going to drive even though I don't feel like I should drive, and I'm going to drive really fast, and I'm going to, no, like, just slow down, like, solve it. Like, if you don't get to that meeting, very likely it's not going to end your life. I mean, unless it is the, like, life or death meeting, which sometimes does happen, I guess, then you make everything you can do to get there. Yeah, and then also we tend to make these, like, ridiculous examples, like, yeah, but what about if you tortured, and you're like, yeah, how often are you being tortured? Like, hopefully you're going to answer, like, not very often. And if you do, that's just a much more difficult situation to do it in, that I wouldn't be able to do. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means that it's a lot more difficult to do that. And there's many people who have situations that are way more difficult than I have. I actually feel grateful and happy that my life is as good as it is, despite all the issues I have, because there are people who have it much, much harder and are still able to enjoy life. Stephen, enjoying the present instead of living for social expectations. Yeah, exactly. And not just social, but your internal expectations that very likely come from societal expectations, of course. So yeah, good feelings and bad feelings and good feelings alike are actually something that get in between you and reality. And it's not that we want you to become numb. It's not that we want you to become neutral. What we want to do is to learn how to enjoy being here despite what happens around us. And the important thing that I just take as a given is, like, we need to be benign, because otherwise I could feel good because look at that person I don't like. Something bad happened to them. Oh, and you feel good about that because it's so nice that they got what they deserved. That feels good. That's feeling good, but it's not coming from a place of just enjoying being here. That's coming from you feeling. In Swedish, we have an expression for that. It's called skadeglädje, joy of hurting, kind of is how you translate it. JVB, I've learned that it's important to work at getting to know yourself so that you can find out what ways help you find enjoyment and which approaches will solve your problems the most. And I would say that's a good step to begin with. But like what I'm trying to say is that, important to work at getting to know yourself so that you can find out what ways help you find enjoyment. What I'm saying is that you don't need to find like things that help you find enjoyment. Everything is enjoyment. You shouldn't go out, you don't need to go out and look for the things that make you enjoy. I'm saying learn to enjoy, not find the things that make you enjoy. I'm saying everything is enjoyable. It's just that we suck at enjoying life. And we put up all these ideas like, I need this to happen. That doesn't mean you couldn't have like a preference, like saying like, oh, well, I like the flavor of cheese better than like molded bread. Like, yes, absolutely. I mean, why not? I mean, I for one do. But that doesn't mean that I need to find like, oh, I have cheese now. Oh, I feel so happy I have the cheese. But actually, like, whatever you eat, whatever you're doing, learn to enjoy it. Learn to know, like, look at how you're constantly judging the world emotionally by your interaction with the world. You don't say it out loud always. It's just a feeling that judges. It's the idea that the world needs to be in a specific way for you to find joy. So when you're saying like find out in what ways, well, actually the sentence, I'm not sure if I'm reading it wrong, but so that you can find out ways help you find enjoyment and which approaches will solve your problems the most. I mean, the last part I agree with, absolutely. But in the first one, I mean, obviously, if you enjoy some things more than others, like try to do those, but try to move away from needing the world to happen in a specific way for you to find joy. Do you see what I'm saying, the difference? Because you're doing what I did for so many years and what most people be like, yeah, obviously do that. Like, fun maxing, like really do the things that you enjoy and just do those things and then make it more and more and more and more. And then eventually like you'll just like do fun stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying learn to enjoy everything. Like learn to enjoy being here. And it's not really that you learn to enjoy everything. It's more that you learn to not resist anything. Like now reality is that I need to clean the toilet, and when I'm doing it there's like water splashing in my face. But then we just go clean the face. Instead we go like, water splash, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. Oh, ew, oh my God, like, the drama. Like, I like it more when someone else cleans my toilet. Or I like it more doing the dishes. Because doing the dishes, that I really like. Do you see what I'm saying? As always, really fun conversations, and I love your questions. Today is Monday, right? Yeah, it's Monday. So we have a guided meditation today. And yeah, it's getting a bit late, so we'll just start with that one. And I'll guide you through a journey so that you can enjoy the journey. Not enjoy being here, but like you're going to enjoy the journey. Just kidding. By the way, before we start, I want to say also, if you have something else that comes up that you're like, oh, I would like to bring that up, feel free to leave it in the Discord channel, and I'll think about that as a topic for next week. Also, this Thursday, there won't be any meditation, just so you know. Just stop. Just try to stop. Like right now. Just stop. What is it you think you believe you need to do? Just stop it. Whatever it is you think, or wherever it is you think you need to go, Just stop. What would it be like if you didn't need to go anywhere? If you didn't need to have the world be a specific way, but instead you could just stop. Right here. Right now. What would it be like to sit here, not focusing on anything, not trying to change anything, not looking for anything or wanting a specific outcome from this meditation or anything at all, but instead just stop. What's left? What's left when you've taken away the emotional curtain or the barrier that you have between you and this incredibly vibrant and exciting and enjoyable reality that we live in? When you're no longer fighting the world as it is, when you're no longer needing the universe to succumb to your demands so that you can be happy, and instead you just stop it all. You're just sitting here. What would that be like? What would be left? What would be left that you needed to do? Where will be left that you needed to go? There's always a slight uncomfortable feeling inside of you. It's not coming from the outside. But yet we treat it as if though we're being attacked. But the reality is that you're the one attacking yourself. You're the one creating that pressure towards yourself, saying that if I don't do this, then the world is going to end. If I don't have this happen in this specific way, or if this hadn't happened the way it did, just stop. What would be left? What would there be for you to do if you just stopped? What would you need to do to enjoy being here if you just stopped? But it's scary to stop. Because if I stop, who's going to take care of me? Who's going to change the universe so that I can be safe? So that the universe will be the way I want it to be? Who's going to fight for me? But what if you just stopped? What if you actually allowed yourself to feel the fear? To not run away from that uncomfortable feeling? What would be left if you stopped the fear? Not by suppressing it, pushing it down and not allowing yourself to feel it. But also not by expressing it. But instead just feeling it so that you could stop. So that you could stop running away from what's right here, right now. and actually face the world straight on. Not because you're so strong or so powerful that you can overcome any obstacle, but actually because you realize how incredibly insignificant we are, how little we mean. For anything to have a purpose or a meaning, there needs to be a human perspective. There needs to be me fighting the universe, fighting the world. But what if you would just stop? What would be left is not neutrality. It's not numbness. It's most definitely not boredom. What's left is enjoyment. When you just stop, many people describe it as going silent. So many people actually say, like, just be quiet. And they believe it has something to do with what they're saying. But the silence is not an auditory silence. It's the silence of not constantly judging, constantly emotionally reacting to the world around you, and instead just stopping and letting it be. Not necessarily letting it be in a physical sense, but in an emotional sense. Completely and utterly accepting the reality in this moment as it is. And then choosing after you've stopped. What should I do now? How about now? And what about now? You're no longer making choices or doing things in your life because you're trying to get away from an uncomfortable feeling. Instead, you're just making choices because this is what makes sense to you. If someone is hungry and poor and crying because they can't feed their baby, then it makes sense to me to feed them. I don't have a lot, but I probably have enough to give someone some food. If you meet a stranger on the street and they're crying and they seem distraught, maybe you leave them alone because that makes sense to you. Or maybe you go up and talk to them because it's the sensible thing to do for you. There's no absolutes in what one should or shouldn't do. Instead, action comes from whatever you believe is the right thing to do in that moment, and then the next. And that could be different for you than it is for me, or the other person listening to this. So what if you just stopped? Who would you be if you stopped needing the universe to abide by your rules? If you stopped needing other people to give you validation, or yourself giving yourself validation, but actually just stopped? what would be left? What would there be here if you just stopped? But that's scary. Just stopping is scary. Why is that? Why is it you believe that you need to fight everything? That you need reality to be a specific way for you to enjoy being here? Who taught you that? Where did you pick that up? When you were an infant and you just lied on your back, looked up at your mother's face, you were warm, you were comfortable, you had food, you felt skin to skin, didn't even need to go to the bathroom, could just poop in your diaper. I mean, what else could you need? A baby just stops. They don't need to have more milk. I mean, more bushes, more breasts. It's enough for your mothers. They don't need to change the world or have $1 million to be enjoying just lying there. But somewhere along the road, you started running. You started moving. You started believing that if you stopped, something bad would happen. You started believing that if you just stopped, then you'd just sit still in front of the sofa and watch TV all day. But what would happen? What would be left if you actually stopped? Stopped emotionally judging, stopped mentally and emotionally criticizing everything around you, and just let the universe be as it is. We've felt this more recently than you might think. We have moments like this. When you're out walking, there's fresh rain on the asphalt. It's comfortable. And all of a sudden, you've just stopped. You're just walking around, enjoying being there. Enjoying how nice it is to smell fresh rain on asphalt, to hear the birds singing, to feel the wind caress your skin, to just stop. Life truly starts when you stop. Thank you for, that was a really nice sitting. I hope you enjoyed it. So JVB said, ah yes, and I agree. Like for me, I don't see myself stopping the habit of meditating in stillness to gain a sense being in the now. Meditation might work for others while it won't for others. Yeah. Sitting in stillness is a really good way to learn to observe your emotions. The problem is that most people don't do it that way. Instead, they see it as a way to get calm. We can just stop, right? I hope you enjoy that, and thank you very much for being here with me tonight. Thursday, I won't be holding a stream because I'm picking up my family, and I will see you back a week from now on Monday. Thank you so much, and I wish you a great week, and I'll see you then.